All right, so starting a new unit, so you notice a new aim number 3.1. We just finished the Neolithic Revolution. You guys wrapped that up with the Neolithic Revolution DBQ, kind of comparing life during the Paleolithic era and the Neolithic era. So now we're going to move on to what's called River Valley Civilizations. This is our first real big unit. A quick thing we need to make a note of as we move forward is that when we learn things in a certain order. But just because we learn one thing before another thing doesn't necessarily mean that one thing, happened after another thing or vice versa. Sometimes we learn about things in different parts of the course, but in reality, these things are happening at the same time. So we just got done learning about the Neolithic Revolution, and now we're kind of moving on to the River Valley civilizations. And it's important to understand that the River Valley civilizations and the Neolithic Revolution unit are kind of running concurrently. They're going at the same time. So basically what we're saying is that the Neolithic Revolution is taking place in these River Valley civilizations. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of focus in on some of the River Valley civilizations to see where are the first kind of real civilizations cropping up and showing evidence of the Neolithic Revolution. So we started by asking, how could a civilization benefit from living near a river? And as I go through the chat box, you see a lot of answers about transportation and it's important for farming. And someone even used the word silt there. So, and all those are kind of, super relevant. The river is going to be important for as a water source, as a food source, as far as fishing and getting, pulling food out of the water itself, but also the water is going to be used for irrigation and farming. And also, there's more than just that also. Someone used the word silt, like I said. That's a super important concept that we're going to kind of touch on during this aim. So basically what we're asking is, how did civilization begin in Mesopotamia? So what we're looking at is why here? Why in this particular place did this begin to happen? So here we go. I'll give you guys a second. We've got a lot of details here. All right. So the Fertile Crescent is the subtitle, the subtopic here. So the Fertile Crescent is a vocabulary word that refers to this area in between the two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates River. And you can see it in kind of the shaded red color on the map over here. Mesopotamia is Greek for between the rivers. So I know we spoke briefly earlier about, how we're going to take a look at Greek and Latin words a lot. And this is another one. Meso is always the prefix for between. In the Earth's atmosphere, there's a layer called the mesosphere. That's the layer of the Earth's atmosphere in between, what's near the ground and outer space, right? So between the rivers. So Mesopotamia is the name of the area, but the name of the first civilizations are called Babylon, Sumer, Assyria, and Akkad. And Sumer is the first true civilization. So that is what is widely recognized as the first true example of a civilization when we look at this group of people through the lens of like the 6 characteristics, for example. There's other kind of, smaller examples of some of those things happening, but Sumer is the first kind of civilization of any scale, of really any considerable size. So civilization is made possible by the geography. Okay, and is the earliest examples, of the advances of the Neolithic era. So this is going all the way back to, 3000 BCE, and we'll go over BCE and CE and what that means. So this is basically the beginning of written history. So what we're going to explore, and this is something that you guys kind of touched on with the do now, is why is it that this civilization is cropping up around these rivers. And that's really what's most important. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we're going to do for classwork today. Let me assign this. All right, so aim 3.1, Mesopotamia geography. We have a couple of different sheets attached to here. This is the worksheet that you guys are going to actually work on, okay? So you got, basically what we're doing is we're looking at this up here. The reason civilization started in Mesopotamia is directly due to geography, but why? That's the question we are trying to answer. And you're going to take a look at a couple different resources and check them out and see what they have to say about why geography is so important to the beginning of civilization here. So the first resource you're going to look at is a section from the textbook, and I've attached that to the assignment also. So just pay attention to the bottom right hand corner of each page for the page number. It's just, it's basically just a digitized version of our textbook. And the other document you're going to take a look at is another short reading that speaks about this also. So you can kind of take a look at both of those resources, and you can just take notes in this space and, in bullet point form.